Hello and welcome back to NWCL Beyond the Boundary. I'm Kobe Donnelly, and today I'm with Padiham Cricket Club player Tom Turner. How's it going, mate?
Good, Kobe. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So obviously many people in the league will know who you are. For those who don't, could you introduce yourself, please? Just tell us about yourself and your involvement in cricket.
Yeah, of course. I'm Tom Turner. I'm the wicket-keeper batter for Padiham Cricket Club. It's my first season at Padiham, getting involved. Having previously played for Longridge for a few years, and then prior to that, Reed Cricket Club, which was my home club growing up. This season's been fantastic, and been some serious highs and some challenges as well. But it's been amazing to be a part of the club and enjoy my first season with Padiham.
Brilliant. So obviously you mentioned your first season at Padiham. So obviously this season you currently sit in seventh place in the league, with a Lancs knockouts place not too far away with how congested the league table is. And you also finalists in the Hamer Cup this year, which is played at Reed. You also to Lever, and you made it to the T20 finals today as well. So what have you made of the season so far?
It's been a hell of a year. There's been plenty going on. You named just a few bits there, but I suppose the highs to start with, getting to the Hamer Cup, probably in the way that we did. Some challenging games leading up to the final against Little Lever. Obviously, didn't quite go our way on the day, but it wasn't just straightforward. We had Brinskull who set a challenge in total that we had to knock off with some conviction, and then obviously a big game against Reed in the semi-final, which with the type of season they're having in itself felt like a final. And then on the day against Little Lever, it just showed with the performance that they put out there, the quality of the teams in that cup, and to win it, you have to be the best team, which was amazing. Finals day is always something I love to get to. It's a fun day out. It's explosive. You've got amazing players on good grounds. So obviously that was a little bit interrupted this year with the weather. Not been straightforward, but and then Reed walking away with that one, and then the league itself. That yeah, I mean, you probably hit the nail on the head with it. It's challenging. Seventh, I don't think is probably a true reflection of where I feel we should be based on some of the performances that we put together, and collectively, probably as a team, the quality of players that we have, I feel we should be probably challenging more so for the league. But I think the trick, and I've always learned this, is just consistency. Consistency in performances, it's just not quite been there, but that's exciting. It leads on to next year and what's to come. So I think the final point that you mentioned about the Lancs knockout, with the team we've got, and you think about the players and the quality, it takes me back to, I was lucky enough to be a part of a winning side with Longridge in the Lancs knockout in 2022. And I don't see so much of a difference in the quality of the players we had then to go on and win it with what we've got at Padiham. So these last few games are really important, which is a testament to the league and how tight it is that we're just pushing to be in the top four. So it's been a serious season, Kobe.
Brilliant. And looking at the Hamer Cup, obviously didn't quite go your way in the final. In the semi-final, you were drawn against Reed, and
Yeah.
that win was obviously massive for the club. I remember seeing the CCTV footage where everyone just celebrated. Obviously, for those who don't know, it's a massive rivalry between you both. And obviously, you was out there now, and I think I was sorry, and you was what, seven down or something like that. I thought it's game over here. I think you just kind of took the game to them. I think you scored about 40 odd runs, one over. You scored about 20 odd or something like that, and that got you in. It was a very clutch moment. So, how nice was it for you to kind of have that moment to get your team to a final?
I tell you now, it was bloody brilliant. It were amazing. The day itself, obviously, there's lots of nerves in a semi final, and especially against an old club that you used to play against. It was nerve wracking being out in the middle, but I've got at Paddy and the following that they've got and the players that we've got and the support that we show to each other is amazing. And it's something I don't think I've been a part of something like it before. And to hit them winning runs and to play like I do, which is with freedom. I sort of call myself probably a bit more of an impact player. It was good, and it all came together. So yeah, the celebrations were amazing.
Brilliant. And well, I'm looking at your pro now, and when I interviewed Ben Ollie earlier in the season, I think they were quite good words of him. I think not many people in the league knew who he was. He was quite early, but now everyone knows who he is.
Yeah, I
Obviously,
guess
had a fantastic
they know
season.
who he is now, don't they?
Oh, definitely. After I'm a cup final, everyone knows who he is. He scored just under 1,300 runs this year and have taken 34 wickets. And obviously, after that him a cup performance, you've re-signed him for next season as well. But what have you made of him this year?
I think, well, personally, I mean, the stats talk for themselves. So when you come away from the stats, 1,300 runs is so much, so many, and has a huge impact on the season that you have overall. 34 wickets is nothing to shy away from either. But I think something Ifty brings it's just that it's maturity in the changing rooms and on the pitch. He's played a lot of cricket and plays a lot of cricket. I've never met a man that's played probably in excess of 65 games already this year, outside of just what he does from Padiham. But it's fantastic. And I don't think as well, I think this is the first time he's had a proing gig where he's officially been listed as pro. So I'm super excited to see what he can bring over the next season. And having re-signed him straight after the Hamer Cup, I'm buzzing to see what he can do next year. There's no one else you'd want to be in the middle batting with either. It just seems to take all pressure off the man at the other end, where usually I think that's probably something we can work on. It's just sticking with your pro. The runs he's scored have been fantastic. If sort of our top order could back that up a little bit more so on a more regular occasion, we'd probably see more success. But Ifty, as a bloke off the pitch, he couldn't be kinder, he couldn't be nicer. He brings so much. Like my favourite thing that Ifty does is just as we walk out, just as we're about to start, he stands at first slip next to me, comes up to you and just wishes you the best of luck, brother. Gives you a handshake, gives you a cuddle, and it sets the tone for the game. So yeah, amazing player on and off the pitch, and can't wait for the next 12 months to see what they bring.
That's great to hear that. And we mentioned the Hamer Cup final and both Andy Flair after what's leave eventually won it. I think he scored 79 off like 30 balls. It was a destructive innings. It was one of the best innings I've ever seen live. Obviously, it didn't materialise in the end. And we all know Reid is more ground, but them sixes were massive. I've seen players arguably the best pro in the league, Jamil Stewart. I've seen him hit sixes, and I've never seen sixes if they were hitting. I've never seen someone hit a ball as cleaner as him. It was unreal, and I'm sure everyone can vouch for that. It was there. You know, you mentioned obviously a pro is obviously the figure point in the team. He gets to the runs, he gets to the wickets. Having someone like him who not just does that, but also can change the game straight away. If he needs to turn it on, he can turn it on, and he could take a spinner apart. Regardless of how good he is. Is that someone who's really nice to have in your team who's coming in maybe number 4, number 5, who can just do that as soon as someone else gets out and change the game?
Yeah, it sort of just takes all the pressure off when you could be completely behind in the game, and it doesn't matter the situation. He's just got this mentality that he backs himself 100%, and that's showed in that final. There was a point. I listened to the podcast that was on previously with the little lever lads, and he mentioned you asked the question surrounding is there a point in the game that you felt a little bit nervous, and with the total that they scored, you just wouldn't expect the answer to be yes. But whilst Ifty was there, and I remember walking out to bat with him, we just said we can win this game, and it can be done, and I believed it could be. And it got out at a time where I think that we turned it to a point where you wouldn't say we're on top, but you'd say that we definitely put them in a position where they started to feel a little bit nervous. And as an impact player, I don't think you'll find anyone better. Anyone. He's a class act.
Brilliant. So, I want to look at your performances this year. You've scored 472 runs this year and have taken 42 victims as keeper. What have you made of your season on an individual basis?
I've been happy to contribute. It's probably the way to put it. I'd say I've probably left a little bit out there in terms of the amount of runs I could have scored. There's been many occasions where I probably give my wicket away. I've got quite high expectations for myself, but that sort of comes. I guess it's a learning curve, new league, new grounds, new clubs, new players. Not really too sure on what to expect. Wicket keeping is sort of like my pride and joy. I take real pride in the performances I put together when I go out onto the field with the gloves, and 42 victims is something I'm happy with. And there's 3 games left, and I want to push for that big 50. So there's some performances to be put out there as well. And think a big thing that comes with your keeping is it's all around like you're helping your bowlers, and if you can put a performance in and it's consistent and it goes a little bit under the radar, that's usually for me the biggest telltale sign that I've done my job. So yeah, I'm happy with my own season, but probably just eager and hungry for more, and hopefully that'll come next year with some consistency and maybe a few more runs.
Yeah. I think Ollie mentioned obviously Ben Utley last season kept, and the year before I think he won back-to-back keeping prize. This year you came and took the gloves from him. I think Ollie mentioned right taking too much discredit to Ben, that you being able to stand up to a seamers, really helps you because your batter can't leave his crease, stumping comes in equation.
Yeah,
It can change the batter's thought process massively. This I guarantee you. Look at them, the ballers in your team who you are standing up to. I bet they have so much more confidence you stand behind the sticks, who's going to stand up to them, and probably their wickets and your overall performances have improved since you came in this year.
yeah. I mean, taking nothing away from Ben, I've watched Ben keep in previous games in previous years. He's a quality act. Standing up to the stumps is an art in itself, and when you've got the confidence to do so to any bowler, I think it brings something else. And I think I've enjoyed it so much this year when you've got the likes of Ben Swindles rocking up, who can move it both ways, who bowls consistent on his lines. To have the keeper up to the stumps is just another angle of what a batter has to think about. Knowing that if he chucks it down leg side and they fall over, that they're going to be out. Again, it traps people, so it's another angle on making sure that things, batters aren't settling, and they're always thinking about what you can do as a keeper, not just what the bowler's going to do with the ball. It's something I love doing, and I'd stand up to anybody. Xander's your prime example. This weekend stood up to the sticks to Xander. You've Oki Erasmus at the other end as a sub pro. It just gives them something else to think about, and straight away, first ball up to the sticks, he gives half a chance, and yeah, it's not something everybody can do, but it's something that I work hard on. So I take pride in the keeper.
I think our keeper at Tong has a bit of a laugh, and no discredit to any keepers who do stand back. He say if standing back keeping is just fielding, standing up is proper keeping, and I think it does bring a bit of excitement. You see that ball, but if it's moving away or if it's turning, I don't know what you do. Does it make it more exciting? You stand up, then it gives you much more of a challenge where you may let more bodies go past you, but it brings a
Yeah,
more challenging element to the game.
yeah, I think that's true. I don't know if I fully agree with standing back is just like fielding, because you're in the ball, you're in the game every single ball. But yeah, when you stand up, the element of standing up is more of a challenge, and you just got to back yourself. Really, you just got to back yourself to take every ball, strong hands, and make sure that if the ball does get nicked, that it sticks. And it's sort of just a confidence thing, and yeah, not taking it light-hearted. It's not just a job that you have to do. It's play a massive part in the game when you're in the field, not just with the gloves, but also with your mouth. There's an element of keepers. You say you've got to be a little bit of a nutcase to do it, and yeah, I mean, I feel like I definitely bring a little bit of that to the table too. So yeah, it's a good job. I enjoy doing it.
Brilliant. So obviously you mentioned before that it's your first year in the North West Cricket League. Can you tell us what you made of the league? Obviously, we get a lot of people from outside of the league saying this and that about not just about our league and us saying stuff about the other leagues. Since coming into the league, what have you found of it, and what have you enjoyed about it?
Just to probably start off by saying how competitive and how high the standard is. I think when I originally left the Riversdale League, when I moved clubs originally, the perception that the other leagues had was that it was a much lower standard. And I'd always argued and had the mick taken out of me that I felt the standard was strong, and the amateur cricketers were the quality was really good as well. And having come back into this new league where you then have the merger of the Bolton sides coming into the Ribblesdale sides, I'm finding the pros are unbelievable. You're playing against some world class cricketers. You named Jamil before. I've seen some of the best innings I've ever seen from any player ever playing against him. And you talk about Ifty, and you talk about some of these pros are just next level. Navod at Blackrod, just doesn't look to ever get himself out. It is unbelievable the standard of some of the pros, and then I definitely see some of the younger lads coming through as well. You're seeing quality young players playing first team cricket, but the standard is fantastic in the way that they're going about how they're playing. Um, another part of it as well is probably the crowds and the following that some of these clubs have, and then the new rivalries that have come together. So obviously, originally for me, it was always Riversdale League sides. You had Reed Padiham, you had Earby and Earby and Barnoldswick and Baxenden as well. Like you had all these clubs that we all knew who each other was. But I'm coming in, new players, new rivalries, new competition, and new niggles as well. So there's all sorts of positives that I've taken away from it. Probably the biggest positive for me going away from other leagues is the format. So 45 over win-lose cricket, that's one of the main reasons that I went away from enjoying Saturday cricket as much so in these other leagues where you got winning draws and losing draws. And, all right, some people argue you've always got something to play for, but at the end of the day, no one wants to stand around and see a team surround the batter and then try and block out for no runs. I've enjoyed this league more so for that reason, coming in and it being just competitive win-lose cricket. So it's been great.
That's good to hear. And obviously, with all leagues, always going to be improvements of what people can think. We've had people come on saying about coloured clothing to change it up between Saturday and Sunday cricket. From your experience, any improvements that you think the league could make to really enhance our just enhance the league overall, really?
Yeah, I quite like the point you just made about coloured kit and the way that works. We in the Northern Premier League they have a 40 over competition, and that's played in coloured kit with a pink ball. Introducing power plays, and it's like your official one day cricket over 40, and it's 40 overs, and that I really enjoyed that. That was something that I probably the only thing I missed about the league I played in last season was that competition. But in terms of improvements to the league, I think it's just the continuous growth of the profile, which obviously a lot of that can be accredited to yourself in the way you're going about what you're doing with these podcasts, social media channels. I don't think there's any leagues that I can see that do that. And I think probably just continuing to shout about the quality of the cricket and shouting about the types of people that we're attracting into the league as well, and new players coming in. It's probably the only thing I'd say we need to continue, maybe not improving, but just continue growing.
That's great. And obviously, for many people who don't know, your sister, Sophia Turner, she was part of the Northern Supercharger squad, won the 100 last weekend. Obviously, that's a brilliant achievement for. And I don't know if she's played any games, but to be part of that squad, to be part of that winning squad is, I'm sure anyone in our league would be one of their dreams to be there. How nice is it to see her having this experience? And did you both practice together as kids?
Yeah, I couldn't be prouder. It's a bit surreal seeing your sister win the hundreds at Lords. Unfortunately, I weren't there at the final, but to just be a part of it. So you're right, she didn't play any games, but she was 12th woman for a big part of that, and to be amongst the players, some of the best players in the world. When you watch some of the cricket that the women are playing at the moment, no one can argue that the quality and standard in the hundreds just been above and beyond probably what you would see in any other format of the game in the ladies' game. But yeah, did we train together? Did we play together? Yes, she's always been the best cricketer in the family. Then probably I'm the third. My dad's probably you'd probably argue he was a better player than I was. But I was on the cricket ground down at Reed, making sure she's not scared of the ball. I have fond memories of her bowling at me as a 13-year-old lass and me whacking the ball back and hitting her in the ribs, and she's holding the tears back because she doesn't want to be seen as someone who can't take a little bit of pain from a lad that's whacking a ball back at her. No, it's amazing to see what she's doing, and now she's developed to the point where she's a full-time cricketer playing for Durham. It's amazing. I'm a big advocate of the ladies' game. I've really enjoyed how it's come on over the last few years, and yeah, topped off with Sophia being a part of a winning 100 side's unbelievable.
Brilliant. And we see siblings or father and son, father and daughter, mother and daughter, whatever, really training these kids at a young age. And it's so competitive to get into Lancashire, to get into, and then go through the development and eventually play second team cricket, first team cricket. It's so hard to do. At that young age, could you see potential to be able to reach the area where she is now? obviously I think she's playing for Durham, if I'm correct, in the T20s. So would you say at a young age you could really see this performance which she's doing now at that age?
It's a tough pathway to get there. Having watched her for years, it's not been straightforward. There's always been players that have been sort of been picked above her and maybe been more in the limelight. So from her standpoint and watching her from a young age, has she always had the natural ability? She's always been very good, but she's also worked very, very hard at the bits that she wasn't so good at. She was never the strongest batter, but she's developed her batting to a point where she's competent to the point where you'd say she could do a job. She's always developing her bowling. She's always getting better, looking at new variations, how she can rise above other players. And so you do pick it up at a young age, but I'd say the continuous improvement and the drive that she's had to be the best is what's got her to where she is. And I've single-handedly seen that and hopefully supported that as a brother. But to get there, you've got to really want it, and also you've got to be prepared to gamble. You know, she made a huge decision. She put herself out there and left Lancashire. She said she wanted to move. She went up to Durham, took the gamble. There was no guaranteed spots and places in the teams, but she's gone and earned that rank, and she's now one of the top. Statistically, I think this year she's been in the top five of ladies bowlers in the T20 competition with strike rate and the way she's gone about what she's done. So she's really starting to put her name out there, and that starts at a young age, but it's the continuous development of your game and always getting better that's got her to where she is.
Yeah. So obviously we spoke about wicket before, but really I want to talk about you as a keeper. Can you tell us what made you go into keeping at a young age? And how old were you when you started getting into the trade?
Yeah, I wasn't so young when I started keeping. I I played for Reed, and Reed always had a quality first team keeper in Carl O'Connor, who plays on and off for Clitheroe now, and he was very good at what he does, and he's still a very good keeper now. And so I sort of originally started as a bowler, and then for my footballing career, which was short lived, I was always a goalkeeper. So my reactions were always very good, and I always enjoyed um, sort of ball stopping and making saves, big saves. And it was a gentleman at Reed who called Nick Marsh. He said, "Tom, you should have a go with the gloves. See if you enjoy it." And yeah, I put the gloves on, and then all of a sudden found this natural ability to not let the ball come past me. It Keeping's one of them things. It sort of just falls upon you. I think you always start with the ball in your hand, and you start with the bat in your hand, and then all of a sudden someone says, "Oh, do you fancy having a go at keeping?" So I started in the seconds at a young age when a gentleman stepped down and retired, and then started to take regular victims and started to prove my ability, and then eventually had the opportunity where, for commitment purposes, Cal couldn't play every game, and then eventually I had the breakthrough into the first team, which led me on to getting better and better, I suppose. But I didn't really start keeping on a full-time basis until I was probably 16, 17. And I actually went to Australia at 18 to play over there. And as an 18-year-old, I went over there and bowled because it was rock hard. And I used to think I could bowl quick. And it was only when I came back I started to keep on more regularly and got better and better from there.
Yeah. And what do you enjoy about keeping, and maybe what do you dislike about it in amateur cricket?
I mean, I love that you're a part of the game every single ball. You're always involved, and I suppose when you're keeping as well in the first half of a game, you get to learn how the track's playing. You get to understand. You get to understand how the ball's moving. So it plays a part into your batting, I suppose, as well. I love that you can always get better as well with keeping. There's always improvements and little flaws and techniques, and it's more a mental game with keeping. It's not being too hard on yourself, not overcomplicating things, being relaxed and enjoying it as much as you can do, not stressing just because you've let a few buys go past you. So yeah, keeping's just it's one of them things that you've got to love. You've got to be a bit crazy to do it. But if you can do it right, it sets you up to enjoy your cricket more. So, in my opinion.
Yeah. And when I was a keeper when I was young, and one thing I hated about it is that people who weren't keepers would just have a go at you for no matter what. You let a ball pass, you drop a catch, whatever. I think you don't realise how hard it is to keep. You know, you stood up to the stumps, your spinner on, and you're preparing, your hands ready to prepare that ball coming into you. That slightest edge takes that ball away. People don't realise how hard it is to actually move your hands in front of that ball. It's just quick reactions, especially if you're a first team keeper international cricketer, there might be bigger expectation here. But if you're not careful, you do not know how hard it is. And especially many keepers aren't really athletic. I know you obviously do all your athletic stuff and Instagram and stuff like that. But many keepers aren't. To be able to crouch down that whole game, 45, 50 overs, and then bat as well, which I increasingly think what people want nowadays. It's so hard. What do you think about when someone's having a go at you after you drop a catch or if you pass you?
Oh goodness. I'm a bit of a bugger for a nibble. I do bite at people. I had one this weekend. Mr. Callum Clark, who called me Mr. Symbols. I'm standing at gully, so it's tough. You've kind of got to just use it a little bit and take it on the chin because I think I mentioned before that the best keepers go under the radar because of the lack of buys, because of the quality and the consistency in what you're doing. So you've got to just let comments and frustrations just go over your head and just continue to enjoy what you're doing. I think my worst performances have come maybe when I've had a bad week at work and I'm going into a game stressed out or with problems in my mind. So I'd say the best thing to do is let comments and problems go and just have that. I think Joe Root talks about it a lot, that next ball mentality. Next ball is all that matters. Don't worry about what's gone. Buys will happen, drop catches will come, but as long as you're taking more than you're dropping, you've nothing to worry about. It's just a part of the game.
Exactly, yeah. Everyone drops a catch. No one means to. It just happens, and you know, when people know everyone's giving the best effort, just comes natural, doesn't it? And you ever know, you drop a catch, the next ball gets taken, it doesn't matter. So I think that's
you,
that's the key
you
thing
can
about
you
it,
can
isn't
change
it?
you can change that game the next ball. There can be a ball go down leg, you take a worldie of a catch, and you take the bails off, and you've got the pro. There's never a moment where you can't change the game as a wicket keeper. Yeah, you sympathise with bowlers because they work hard, they bowl consistent lines, they nick it, and the keeper drops it. It's a frustrating moment, but what can you do? You've just got to continue and keep going. And I understand why bowlers get upset and why people get frustrated, but yeah, next ball, move on.
Exactly. So now I've got some quick fire questions for your teammates. When I interview Ben and Ollie, obviously you got some stick.
I did get some steak.
It'll,
I did get some steak.
early in the season. Obviously your holidays, you being the most angry stuff, everything like that. It's an easy chance to get one back on Ben.
Right,
So the first one is besides Ifty and Xander, who's the biggest hitter in the team?
right. Well, definitely not Ben Utley. Um, so if we're talking about who's the biggest hitter in the team, apart from Ifty and Xander, I've got to go with Danny Hyam. Always frustrated that he's batting in the lower order, but when he gets himself in, my God, he hits it miles. He's a big lad, and when it gets hit, it stays hit.
Yeah, I'm sure many of the Bolton teams who haven't played against him at Padiham. I think he was at Farnworth and one over before he went to Clifton. Obviously you can whack it, can't see sometimes coming in middle order. Obviously, it's
Yeah,
really
yeah, my God.
beneficial for the
Yeah,
team.
my God, changes games. But yeah, he hits it miles, so I go with Danny.
Real. And who never stops talking on the field?
Easiest answer, Owen Deakin Pickard. My God, he never shuts up. Never. He's bored constantly and he entertains himself and whilst doing so entertains everybody else at the same time. So yeah, Owen.
And who celebrates the most?
So that was a good question. I don't really think as a team collectively with anybody that celebrates the most, but we definitely have someone who celebrates the best. And I'm gonna have to say Ollie Parr. I've never met a man rehearse and practice his celebrations more so than his actual bowling. So yeah, Ollie all out on that one as the best celebrator.
I remember, I think it was the T20 semi final. He got Camry line on the foot. I don't know what celebration it was, but it was some sort of celebration. And he said to me, I'm going to prepare these celebrations. I'm not saying any stints, but you know, I would love to see some. And to be fair to him, he's hit 11 wickets against Tonga in 2 games before the latest one this season. So I've not seen any of them 2 games either. But yeah. So the next
If you
question
ask
is,
him, if you ask him nicely, he'll dedicate a celebration to you, Corby. I'm sure. So next time you
oh,
see him, just grab him.
I'll make sure I ask him. Hopefully it's not against Tonga. Fingers crossed. Um, who's the angriest after getting out?
I had a conversation about this one with Toby beforehand, whether I can say myself, but it's definitely me. I'm just constantly frustrated all the time when I get out and angry with myself. So yeah, old toys go out the pram. Yeah, it's me.
And who's the least punctual?
Oh, I don't know. I had a thought on this, and I thought, can you say the pro? But it's definitely the pro. He's never on time, and he's always got a reason for being late. So yeah, there's some. I need his excuses as to why he's always late, but I'm going Ifty car.
I'm gonna guess he gets fined every week then for being late.
Yeah, he gets fined and he gets a bit of stick for it, but usually he makes up with it some runs, so we let him off.
Yeah. And who's biggest motivator on the field?
Hmm. So I wanted to say Owen again because he's always geeing you up, but I'm gonna. I'd say the biggest motivator person who always gets us going, is always excited to be playing and makes and has an impact on the mood. I'd say it's got to be Toby Muldoon. When he's in that side, he wants to be there and he motivates everyone to do and be better. So Toby Muldoon.
Real. So the last one will be, what is your predictions for the upcoming Ashes this winter?
See, I'm lucky enough to be going over there to watch a little bit of it. I want to say England are going to win it, but yeah, I'm going to say England win it 3-2.
Real. I think it depends. Obviously, you have a top quality Australian bowling attack, and then you've got our batters. Their batters a bit, well, then top three mainly. It's a bit iffy. If you get Smith out early, I think that's the key for it to get them out,
Yeah,
isn't it? But
I
you
want
like you
to.
said, it can go either ways.
I want to see them go out there and play their style of cricket. I want it to be entertaining and fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Brilliant. So that's all the questions I have. Is there anything that you'd like to add before we finish?
Nothing else to add from me. It's been fantastic. Really appreciate your time, Corbin.
Brilliant. So, thank you for coming on, and I'll wish you best of luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers, Corbin. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.